Wassail. So, I've been being drawn to do a part 2 to the Great Conjunction because there's something quite important happening, which is after the Great Conjunction, on the midnight of the 24th going into the 25th, Uranus and the Moon go into conjunction and Mars is in that mix. And it seems that digging around online, there's no real notice of this in any of the astrology pages. And I think part of that's because a lot of the time, many people doing astrology are using computer programs, and so they're just churning out what comes up on the computer. Whereas I'm constantly digging around, looking at what's going on, looking heliocentrically, looking at sidereal information, and mixing everything together to create a kind of a truth that seems to come out through the channeling. Now, one of the big things that's going on is that there's this energy of 3 blades. Now, it's interesting, I had mentioned it in another reading. 3 knives are like 3 swords, which is very much the 3 of Swords heartbreak card. And this is about a moment when we begin to heal, as I've been saying for a long time, that split between our hearts. It's like this is the cosmic moment, because remember, we can look back at energies like 1589 years ago, the last time Saturn and Jupiter moved within 2 days of each other to form a great conjunction was midway through the fall of the Roman Empire, and that is true. But you need to remember that as the solar system barrels its way around, it's also moving into new parts of the cosmos, becoming ever closer to Andromeda, moving from the cold towards the warm, towards the energy of love. So nothing's ever quite a repeat of what was before. So I've been meditating on, thinking about this conjunction, because the Mars aspect of it is kind of adding fuel to a fire, but the conjunction of Mars and Gaia Uranus isn't actually happening until the 21st of January. It's kind of moving in and out as it heads towards it, but it's very much part of the energy frequency, and it forms one of the blades. So if we look at the Moon, let's turn that up a bit, make sure you can all hear it. With Gaia, Uranus, the 2 together, I've got this driving tone. So they're the first blade, and they're emotions and consciousness. So it's third eye and crown. And this is about, traditionally they would say that the Moon conjunct Uranus, because for the last 200 years, remember, everything's been relating to the conjunctions being in earth signs, and now we're in Aquarius, it's an air sign. For the next 180, 200 years, it's air signs. This is a complete frequency change as to how humanity, humankind, evolves and lives. So this is really ordinarily about kind of flaring up, being angry, being confused, feeling overwrought. But there's something about this it's like a test. So you've got Mars in there, Mars is sea, but within that there is a kind of dissonant harmony. It's like it's waiting for resolution. And that's almost what we're waiting for. We're on this cusp, this birthing, this beginning of a resolution that's coming. And it's turning everything upside down. Now, the next knife that we have is Ceres, which is the sacral, luminous warrior territory that we've just gone through. And I need to explain something. It doesn't matter whether you were on the moment with the solar eclipse. The point is that cosmically, these energies are now open, and they stay open, so that we can join those frequencies as and when it's our pathway to join them. It's never too late. It just means that the sooner you get on with things, the sooner you deal with these things, the sooner you can find self-loving truth, the easier the journey forwards becomes, because you let go of the fear, you trust. So we have the D. And then we have, just further back, almost in conjunction but not quite, is Neptune, which is livers, kidneys, spleens, purification. It's very, very, very old DNA trauma that we've inherited from our ancestors. So you've got, that's the second knife. Now, the third knife, which is the benevolent one, is Saturn and Jupiter. So Saturn, lower heart chakra, and Jupiter, the cleanser. So they're now working with this energy of bringing a new conscious awareness and a purification. Now remember, Jupiter is the great cleanser, the energy wings. So we've got crown chakra, which is an important cleansing energy, because if we can cleanse our thoughts, we can move forwards. Then we have Jupiter working with that one, and then we also have Neptune. So there is a sense of there being an unresolved energy, but we resolve it as we wire in all our new frequencies. So I don't want to go on about that for too long. I'm going to turn off the piano and leave it. I'm going to talk about how, when I was looking into the energies of this reading, I was given one very distinct message. I drew the Tree of Life card. Shuffling, it landed on the table. So it's a new Yggdrasil energy. This is air energy, and there are butterflies, transformation, flight. But then as I shuffled a little more to see what else would come through, a second card jumped off and landed exactly like this. I can't see if it's in the screen because I'm only seeing a black reflected screen. But so we have middle world being turned upside down, that hermetically sealed energy that we've been caught in all year, this imprisoned moment, is about us all searching for who are we really? Not who do we think we are, who are we really? And that's this energy that's coming in now. Yggdrasil energy moving forwards. I'm going to put them back into the Shamanic Oracle deck, and I'm going to put one at the top and one in the middle, and we're going to use these cards. I think I'm going to sneeze. Wassail, as I like to say after people sneeze. We're going to look at the moon. Oh, I didn't bring the moonology cards. That's interesting, because I thought about that all day, all morning. We'll do without them. We'll put them in on the 13th full moon, which is coming on the 30th. So with these, we're looking at the different roles that the moon, Gaia, Uranus, and Mars is playing on this energy of the Great Conjunction. Remember the Great Conjunction, look, it could be like a light switch. There could be something completely dramatic that happens and goes off instantly to awaken everybody. But the cosmos doesn't tend to work like that very often. At the moment, I feel like the notion is that, you know, if interdimensional beings were to turn up suddenly and go, look, we've got this is what we're going to move forwards with, it would mean that humanity didn't learn to do it from within humanity's consciousness. So we really need to take control of our own destiny. They're there with us, they're supporting us, they're our guides and our spirit team, but we have to find that energy within us as a humankind, as a species, to move forwards and to make the changes. Because if changes are forced upon us, then we don't feel that we participated in them. So let's see, what would you like to tell us, please, about the energy of the moon at midnight on the 25th. Look, also, the midnight on the 25th, historically, that's been the birth of baby Jesus. But it's really, at that time, it was chosen in the calendar because after Saturnalia, you get the December solstice and then the sun dies and is reborn 3 days later. So this really is about a solar return. This is about moving from the dark of the dark and back into the earliest footsteps of moving forwards. Remember, Saturn and Jupiter are in 0.29 degrees, so 0 degrees 29 minutes of Aquarius, and that's an 11. That's talking about the sun, which is got that 11-year cycle where it flips from solar activity to non-solar activity. We're in the 25th cycle of it, so a creative cosmic changing cycle. So, I've spoken too much. Let's let the cards take over now. So can we please, what's the moon doing at this midnight solar return? What's the moon doing, please? Do we have a second card for the moon? Oh, we've got 3. Oh, we've got 4. Wow. Okay, I guess I'm just going to have to push those forwards first and show you, and then we'll move on. It's a really long message. So we have flow and the sun. So the moon is flowing with the energy of the sun. Remember, we're still in solar eclipse energy, because that won't end, that phase, until the first new moon on the 13th of January. We're still in that frequency. So the flow cosmically is to rebirth the sun, to bring about that solar return. And what's it doing? It's hunting for the earth. The moon is emotionally drawing us towards a connection with the earth, with Pachamama. And that's the earth, Mother Earth, the natural world. That frequency is going to be flowing through the sun. Okay, so I'm also getting a piece of information which is to do with, right now, Mercury is behind the sun, and Mercury's energy is being burnt away at the moment by the sun. I wasn't sure that it was, but now they're saying it is. It's being burnt back because Gaïa ssh, Uranus, is the higher octave of Mercury's communication, but it's a communication that comes in with direct consciousness, with direct truths, and these truths will test our emotional language. For most people, Christmas is something that tests our emotional language a lot. And a year ago, I did a reading or a message about how I was being told that we had to bust away all of our traditions around this time of year so that we can move forward, so that we can make changes, so that we can see that a life lived without those things that we cling to, those traditions, those needs, is actually the best way to move forward, because life carries on. Once we let go of things, it actually flows with a much better frequency. So what then is Gaïa ssh, Uranus? What's going on there? Oh, 5. Blimey. Whoop, whoop. Oh my goodness, this is magic energy. So it begins with 1113, which is 1113, change. No, balance, sorry. Coming into balance. 6. This is, as I always say, it's Kate Blanchett coming in with a message from Spirit. The High Council. I'm getting here kind of Andromeda Elohim frequency. Very, very, very high dimensional beings. And they're bringing in Crow as a kind of giant spirit, the spirit of the natural world. So it's like they're working together. I am getting that reminder of the new moon on the 13th of the 1st next year as being part of this. So we'll have to look at Mars in a moment. And then we have 55 and 47. And that's, again, the 47 is 11. It's Earth frequency and Sun frequency. We're taming, this energy is taming the wind around the smoky mirrors, the paradoxes, the, oh, look over here while I do something over there frequency. It's all being tamed. All of the paradoxes are now being bust open, pushed forwards, revealed. I've never witnessed so many paradoxes in everything that's going on. You know, we're all told to go into a lockdown. We're all told that Christmas is cancelled for those that celebrate it. And yet our politicians and leaders are jetting off all over the place having dinners and all catching COVID. It's just, there's so many strange paradoxes. And we're being brought into the frequency through our consciousness of the Earth Keeper. And this frequency I am getting is the energy of Aquarians and Elohim. So there is this real much higher dimensional frequency, and this is divine. And I know lots of you are going to have questions about the Elohim and the Aquarians. So just to kind of put it into a context, they were the living cosmic beings before the ones that we all know and love in our starseed kind of frequency, and they had a great electric war, and everything got broken up and changed. So in fact their souls were shattered, but Source has reunited them. Hearing really weird scattered frequencies then behind me, which is interesting. So I've got Odin and the 9 realms, which I want to add one of these to each of the 2 energy patterns here, but I would like these just to literally be 1 card. So do we have just 1 card, please, for the moon? We have Elhas, protection. The moon is, I want to say, it's protecting the sun as it rebirths. And that's what it, oh, that's why it went into eclipse. It went into eclipse to clothe, to draw divine masculine, divine feminine frequencies together so that we can get this rebirth of the sun into a divine masculinity, which it hasn't had for a long time. Hello, divine masculine sun. And now we need one for there we go. Oh, vent. This is to go on the most beautiful, rewarding journey. So the journey next year is going to be very rewarding. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it will be very rewarding. So I've taken all my tarot decks, and before each reading I split them into 6 piles of 13 cards each, because the 78 cards in a tarot deck divide into 6 13s, and I feel that that's a very important frequency to split them into before shuffling them, especially as we've got this 13th full moon coming, and that's then rebirth next year on the 13th as the first new moon of 2021. I also want to say there's something significant coming between the 8th and the 10th of January that is to do with Mars energy, I think. They've just put that in my head. We'll have to, oh, do you know what, I'm gonna go into Mars and see. That's why they're putting it there. So what's this Mars frequency that you're trying to make me very aware of? Right, it's the blade, the awakening. There's a moon frequency on there. What's this 8th or this 10th information that you've just put in my head, and why? Owl is here. Oh, owl looks scary. Hooray! And the luminous warrior. Okay, so what they're putting into my head is this notion that the blades that are coming in now are to slice open cosmic solar wind energies to make space for consciousness, but like I want to say not higher self but other selves. It's like we're going to all be given in this next moon phase. I don't know whether they're now meaning the one, yeah, they must be, that's why he's there. So this solar eclipse of the luminous warrior frequency, this moon phase that goes on till the 13th of January, is about opening up, cutting into with the 3 different blades important spaces from which we need to learn something about our life previously in the 200 years of our DNA from before. But it is going to go back a lot further. But in that period, there's energies we need to release and let go of that are part of our DNA that have kind of bust into our own consciousness in our lifetimes. So, can we please, with the vice versa deck, have a bit of information about that? Oh! No, they didn't fall. They just exploded in my hand because this card's come out on this Mars energy frequency, and immediately it's thrown this energy of everything falling. It's gone right inside my body. It's distorting my frequencies, and it's showing this notion of all, you know, the tower is that idea of everything we've known as foundational stuff around us is got to be broken down, and at the base you see there is this dove of peace. It's meant to be leading us towards something new and peaceful, but we've got to go through the release moments, and that energy was not so much that it's something horrible coming, but really that it's something we fear, and we shouldn't fear because that's part of the old frequencies. We've been made to fear. Okay, so, oh look, and there, sitting on the top, is the very card, the 3 of Swords. We're dealing with these swords, these blades that need to be removed. And when you turn this card around and become luminous warrior energy, you realize that there's a brand new growth, a new blooming flower behind. So the frequency they're talking about is a choice in the old energy, with the damaged inner child that infantilizes us, it's like the only two emotions that governments, authorities, corporations want us to pick between is the notion of love and hate. That's what trolling is about online. So every time someone pushes a thumbs down, they're working in the frequency of fear. They're also drawing towards them more negative karma, but they're giving you good karma. And we need to grow up into luminous warrior frequency, which is much more complicated understanding of the frequencies, the myriad of frequencies of emotion. So it's a little bit like the damaged inner child, love and hate. A classic example in Britain would be Marmite. We have a yeast product, and they say that they've proven that genetically you either hate it or you love it, and they use that love it or hate it as part of their slogan. Everything's much more complicated as we move forwards into this new energy. So we have to release these ways in which we just want simple truths, because that's childish to love or hate. To thumbs up or thumbs down, that's, you know, how we, you know, determined the fate of people in the Colosseum. Growing up is to understand forgiveness, compassion, love, understanding, and that's where we're heading in the Aquarian age. And now that Saturn and Jupiter are pushing down benevolent things, if you're a thumbs down kind of person, they're gonna not thumbs up you, they're gonna thumbs down you, and you will keep tumbling from the tower into this energy of distortion and fear that I just felt. Whereas if you see this as a reconstruction of your true personality, then you get this energy of being emerging from a new emotional waters into something with a much greater understanding of where frequencies should resonate, with compassion from a united heart. Okay, that was nice. I like that. Thank you. So, off that one, back onto the moon. Oh, the sun. Can we just all stop and let me just enjoy this sunshine? It's beautiful. I'm having to do all my washing today so that I can get it out here on the terrace and dry it. I don't want to smell. So the moon, 2 cards. Eight and 3. Again, we've got an 11. So this is 8 of Swords. These are the thought traps. These are the things that stop us from moving forwards, from doing things, from knowing how to work on freeing ourselves from all the past lost, damaged inner child frequencies. And this is luminous warrior energy. When we understand how to transform those energies, spirit flying in, and you see that there's a sword that can unbind us. We can cut ourselves free if we want to change those frequencies. And they're drawing me to these two together. You have to hunt around within yourself for your bare energy, your self-power, your ability to be strong and to let the sun return on its solar moment. And then we have the 3 of Pentacles, which is, it's like completing an apprenticeship, but this is to be free. What you're moving from is this energy of being examined, being judged, letting go of judgment. Hooray! Flow, see, 2020. You mustn't judge yourself. You have to stand in your self-truth. You have to be somewhat self-centered and selfish, because if you can find your truth and have no guilt and release all the judgments that you put yourself under, you heal and you become grown up, fun-loving, luminous warrior energy that can move into the world with joy. So do we have a little bit more about this protective energy of the moon helping us to rebirth the luminous warrior, the sun? This is a beautiful energy where the solar eclipse was of the luminous warrior. This is the point at which it gets reborn. So, chariot movement. But look, in this chariot card, the past is all falling apart because it's no longer part of the cosmic plan. We can remember it, but the past no longer matters. It's being broken up because the cosmos is moving constantly away from that frequency, from that space. And it's interesting, there's the rune here, Reid. We've been unchained so that we can continue our journey. And then there's Cancer on the back of the cape, representing a journey towards us, our inner home. Also, which I've never noticed on this card, there is a cup in the base of the chariot. We are refilling our emotional cup and we're bringing new emotions with us. And then on the shoulders are two faces staring up, the two aspects, that Gemini splitting and having two sides of ourselves, both dark and light, as part of our frequency, and moving forwards. And it has the caduceus, the interweaving connection of both divine masculine, divine feminine, kundalini energies locking together in our heart chakra. And this energy, when turned round, to see it coming forwards, the moon is alive in the third eye. And again, we have the two sphinxes, or the two sphinx, a bit like sheep, that are drawing us forwards now, moving into a much better frequency. And it comes with a brand new beginning. This is the brand new beginning. This is the anchoring of the age of Aquarius. And it doesn't really matter what side this card shows itself to be. The energy is newness, both night and day, dark and light, in balance. Okay, so let's look at Gaia ssh, Uranus, remember, in conjunction with the moon at midnight from the 24th going into the 25th. Oh, that's nice. Just bent it though. Oh, I kind of don't want to say anything else. That's so beautiful. What is our consciousness bringing us? 110. This is to manifest absolute love. This is the fountain that's filling. So, the phone ran out of memory, and it was just after I said I kind of don't want to say anything else. And I carried on the reading to the end. So, it was about these two cards, and the important reason I had to go back to them is because this is the mirror day. This is what that's important, why it came through again. It's the 10th of the 1st, it's a mirror day. It's that point that was in that reading from Andromeda, I believe. This is an important day of allowing love to flow, and it's there is a sense of this figure coming in to bring love to ourselves, but also someone else coming in to bring love to us, because behind the 10 of Cups you have that fountain, a cosmically intended moment that's coming down. That I want to say, it's not like Sleeping Beauty in that someone's coming in to rescue you from a sleep, from a moment where you weren't awakened. It's about somebody coming in and their frequency matching yours in some way that that animates you. It doesn't complete you, but it brings a new level of excitement to your molecules, and that's what that fills your cups and brings that frequency in. And then the next card that came out was this card of flow. We're moving into an energy of flow. We're moving into a frequency where we see all of what was once past that was depressing being changed and looking up to the cosmic beauty that's being brought in. So that was the last part of the reading. Just because we've gone back in, I'm going to ask the mystical shaman if it wants to say one last thing about the rebirthing of the sun. Do you have something to say about the rebirthing of the sun, please, to end? It's weird, I just did a very long conversation and I don't know whether it was earlier in the reading or whether it was past the point where I think it was. It's okay, my brain's being told, shh, you made that point, it was done. If I haven't, well, it'll come another time. So what's the last part is the heart of the sky. This is where consciousness comes through. This is the black hole in the middle of Sagittarius through which our divine feminine consciousness reaches down. This veil is being lifted in a new way, and it's coming with eagle, and they're telling me the eagle is spirit, our consciousness, our higher and other selves striking down on the divine masculine energy that's whirling all around, this hunter energy where we're seeking our bear power, our inner strength, which makes us luminous warrior energy, and that frequency is being drawn together in our heart as a connection of kundalini energies, masculine and feminine, combining to bring us a healing. So last card from Odin. Last card from Odin. Okay, it's a really strong message, massively strong. If you can do the shadow work, you get your spiritual inheritance. I don't want to add anything else to that. It's just literally face your shadows, you will be reborn, and you will get your spiritual inheritance. And the spiritual inheritance is what the age of Aquarius is all about. This greater spiritual consciousness connection to the cosmos. Anyway, I'm going to go in case the phone stumbles and collapses again and I can't see the screen. So it was only after I finished that it told me it stopped recording. So, wassail.